Resource owners threaten to shut down LNG operations.
Money where?
Life PNG Care says challenges remain in policy and funding for street children. And PNG wins first ever gold in beach volleyball. This is National MTV News with Neville Choi.
Good evening and thank you for joining me. This is Saturday's news. Resource owners from the PNG LNG project in Hela province have made their final call to shut down project operations. Petroleum Development License Areas 1 and 7 said they are fed up with what they allege is the continuous and repeated breaching of the project agreement by the state. They are giving the government until next week Tuesday to respond to their petition.
The resource owners led by Andy Yamaga say the issues they are raising are not new and the government is fully aware of their grievances, starting from outstanding royalties, business development grants and the infrastructure projects.
Happy with the way government mislead him, now continue breaching all agreement.
They say the state has been breaching the agreement and the government is also to be blamed for the delay in the royalty payments.
Put them, people one in cell, one block, talent to 5 line, well it 1, 2, 3, by me put them 100 line. Like him, pass him, pinch him all katana. By me, pinch him all katana, come on, come to people 1 and people 7.
Their final option is to shut down the gas conditioning plant in Ides next week, Tuesday. That is a follow-on from a peaceful protest earlier this month.
By shutting over the project.
5 years time we've been talking, but you review this agreement, but that was never done. So when are we going to review that agreement?
MTV News understands that the clan vetting process to identify the genuine landowners is before the courts, and all landowner royalties have been paid by the developer to a nominated account. Michelle Amba, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, MTV understands the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy could not comment on the matter since the clan vetting for PDL 1 and 7 is before the courts. A source from Mineral Resource Development Authority says outstanding royalty payments for the project areas is being held back because of the same reason. The Pacific ACP Trade and Fisheries Ministers have expressed concerns at the European Union's proposal to defer negotiations on the Economic Partnership Agreement. The ministers reaffirmed their commitment towards developing a comprehensive EPA with the EU, which they intend to do as a region in solidarity. These intentions were made during a special meeting held in Suva yesterday.
This special meeting follows PNG's decision to withdraw from any further discussions regarding a comprehensive EPA. Putting national interest over regional obligation, PNG's Trade Minister Richard Maru said upon his return from a European trip that PNG stands to benefit more in strengthening its bilateral relationship with the EU.
If they did not give us duty-free market access to enter their market, we will have no fisheries industry. So when the EU says we don't want to talk to you anymore, we've wasted our time and resources for 11 years, Papua New Guinea needs to respect the position of the EU.
The main area of debate between the PACP and the EU is around the management and conservation of fisheries resources. While PNG and Fiji enjoy an interim EPA with the EU, something that our trade officials believe should be replicated among the other Pacific Island countries, the PACP ministers say its current form is not the preferable option for most parties, as it has no development benefits, especially for smaller island states that may not be able to set up canneries. In her opening address to the special meeting, Dame Meg Taylor, Secretary General for the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat, said that it is unfortunate that the focus of the agreement has become more about fisheries issues rather than about a development-oriented package for the region. Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
Traditional inhabitants of treaty villages along the Papua New Guinea and Australia international border claimed that their views were not captured in negotiations and agreements. What failed to be considered were traditional boundaries and ancestral heritage rights that prevented people to hunt and fish in their own areas. Fabian Hakalitz spoke to the people living in these treaty villages.
It's time to revisit and make factual, life-sustaining.
Gregory Nabaka spoke on behalf of the treaty villages of Western Province, who also share similar sentiments with the Transfly villages. Since the treaty ruled, it denied the rights to access food in their own land and sea. Life was unsustainable because people depend on the sea for food and income.
Our basic rights, sustainability, our historical values and rights, by this boundary.
Until today, Nabaka says villages still cannot fully access the land and sea and want the treaty reviewed to restore traditional rights that were lost at independence.
We need recognition. We want people to listen to what we are saying and try to understand what we are saying.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, in a statement this week, said to appoint a committee of eminent persons to properly inquire and report on historical injustices relating to Torres Strait border and border treaty. Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
You're with National MTV News. We'll have more local stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The number of street children in Port Moresby has increased, and with the government pushing forward bills to prioritize child protection, poverty continues to be the biggest threat to vulnerable children. Organizations such as Life PNG Care are taking the lead to accommodate vulnerable children, yet the challenges of proper policies and funding still remain.
The number of children in street situations is increasing in Port Moresby. Though the actual figures are not confirmed, it is estimated that a good number of them are orphans and comes from broken families. Currently, 22 homeless and vulnerable children were taken care by an ordinary public servant, Colin Parker, and his wife Frida in Rainbow Estate. Colin says these children are the future of this country and needs to be loved and cared for.
The only important, valuable resource that our future lies is our children.
While the country's attention is on extractive industries, little focus has been given to legislate laws and policies to regulate children's protection rights and to have a home for orphans.
And everybody should play a part in protecting our children.
Last night, a corporate dinner was hosted by National Development Bank to raise funds for Life PNG Care, run by Colin and his wife, that looks after the 22 children. Over 100,000 kina was raised for this charity dinner. Quinten Alomp, National MTV News.
Morabe Governor Kelly Naru has questioned the role of the newly established District Development Authority. Governor Naru says DDA will perform similar tasks to the provincial and local level governments. He says there is no need for establishing DDAs, but to empower provincial and LLGs in delivering effective services to the people. Governor Naru made these statements following his presentation of Morabe's acquittals at the Office of Rural Development in Port Moresby yesterday.
Slowly coming also to the conclusion that the district development authorities might also be unconstitutional, because they are one and the same. District development authorities, they are also created to enhance effective service delivery in the district side. And me one block government, me both against him.
As Papua New Guineans slowly come down from the high of 2 weeks of gold medal wins, there's a lot more that has been gained. The unity brought out by the Games has been an incredible experience for many. Scott White takes a look back at some of what the Palm Pacific Games brought with it.
At the end of this festival of color and sports, one can safely say there may not be, for many years to come, an event of this magnitude that can boast the uniting of tribes and languages into one single voice. The Pacific Games brought together people from all 4 regions, the ethnicities, the language groups, the traditional rivalry. Even the politics was silenced by the deafening roars of unity at the stadiums and the grandstands where Papua New Guineans gathered in their thousands. Oh, and those memorable moments, Stephen Curry, the Port Moresby kid, and that lift that sent shivers through everyone. And Dika and Thelma Toa, the sisters who made sure national pride was not hurt. To the pool, Ryan Pinney remained king, stopping short of breaking records, but who cared? He got gold for PNG. And Sam Seegers, who got silver in the pool, amazingly fluent street talk pissin. We only found out later he was born in Medang. Later on the tracks, the 1, 2 and 3 in the men's 400 and 1, 2 and 3 again in the women's 400. The Kumuls blasting past the finish line in a blur of red, black and gold. At the end of it all, what do we take from all of this? Maybe we should now come away from this mentality of being the underdog in international competitions, forge a new path for the upcoming athletes who want not only to do a personal best, but to excel and be the best. Scott White, National MTV News.
Something to think about there from Scott White. PNG crowned as Kings of Sand in men's beach volleyball. That and more coming up next in Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG men's beach volleyball pairing of Moha Meya and Richard Kilarupa have created history, winning the first gold medal for Papua New Guinea in beach volleyball. In the gold medal match, they played against a strong Fiji pairing. The first set saw heart-stopping volleyball action, which went all the way to the final point with PNG winning 25-23. And in the second set, Fiji could not keep up with Meya and Kilarupa as they easily won the second set as well, sealing the match and claiming gold for Papua New Guinea.
And also to SP Brewery for sponsoring me and Richard as the SP Gold Athletes. We proved that the money was put into good use.
Fellow citizens of Papua New Guinea, thank you all for supporting us.
In boxing earlier today, the PNG men's team added 4 more gold medals to the tally. Charles Famakeyama, Louis MacGyver, Henry Uming, and Thaddeus Katua all won gold in their respective divisions, while Andrew Asaiga won bronze. In the 52 kg lightweight division, Louis MacGyver proved too strong and too fast for his Nauruan opponent. Lawn bowls added 3 more medals to PNG's medal count today on the greens. Women's pairs gold medalist Ju Carlo was outplayed by Cook Island's Teotaki Jim 21 shots to 19, sweeping up silver in the women's singles event. The surge for medals continued in the women's 4th gold medal playoff. Mother and daughter duo Angela and Cecily Siminali, Monding Tima and Catherine Wimp in a tough encounter against Cook Islands, narrowly beating them 14 shots to 13. Pauline Pomaleo, Lucas Royka and Peter Juni swept up silver in the men's triple event, going down to Fiji 15 shots to 14. Lawn bowls have now bagged a total of 6 medals in 8 respective events. And PNG's Commonwealth and Pacific Games long-distance runners Sapulao Yao and Skene Kiage also competed but just missed out on the medal. Bisamo came first to win gold ahead of Georges Richmond from French Polynesia, who took the silver, and Fiji's Avikash Lal, who finished 3rd for the bronze. The women's 10,000-meter gold medalist Kikini Sharon Firisua from Solomon Islands took out gold, and her fellow country runner Diana Matakali finished with silver, while Miriam Goye from PNG finished strongly in 3rd place to settle for bronze. The men's and women's half marathon started in the early hours today. PNG's 5,000 bronze medalist Kupsi Bisamo ran an impressive race with 11 competitors from 5 other countries. And True Guy Sports ends there. Weather details for after this break. Stay with us.
Sports. True Guy Sports.
And looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, cloudy periods with chances of showers in Port Moresby, Darrow and Kerama expecting cloudy periods, possible evening showers for Alatau and mostly fine in Poponeta. In the Momase region, all centers mostly fine. And in the New Guinea Islands region, all centers also fine. And for the Highlands region, all centers expecting cloudy periods. And that's the news, sports and weather for Saturday, 18th of July, 2015. A reminder, tomorrow's news will begin at 6 p.m. But stay tuned now, we shall switch over to the final hours of MTV's broadcast of the 15th Pacific Games in the lead-up to the closing ceremony later tonight. From the news team, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good night.